Hello, everybody out there. I hope you have some time to join us tonight, or if not, later on during whenever you find the time, to talk about a new Lenormand with lovely Andrea Aste. Hello, Andrea.
Hello, Kirsten. Nice to see you again. It's always a pleasure to be part of your life and hello to everyone.
How do you pronounce your name these days? Do you say Andrea or do you say Andrea? I was just
It's
wondering.
always Andrea, Andrea. But I will be called in every single way from Andres, Andreas, Andrea, Andreas in the German style. So when I hear something that is similar to my name, I answer. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
like all version of my name. Actually, the German Andreas, I really like it. So it's just the
Yeah,
same.
I remember when I used to live in England, people always called me cursed, which was difficult for me. So, yeah, I was just wondering. For anybody who doesn't know, Andrea is Italian but lives in the UK. And you
Yeah.
just kind of house moved, didn't you? You used to live in
Yes.
London now.
I celebrate tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow that I move. So 1 year. I
One
w-
year.
yes, after I've spent something like 9 years almost 10 years in London, I decided that it was too much, enough. I went just north to see a friend of mine, and I fell in love with Durham, County Durham, so North Yorkshire, Durham, almost on the border with Scotland. I fell so in love with the nature, the sea, the middle-aged town, little. And from a super megalopoly of millions of people, I went to live in a village with not even 1,000 people. I mean, there is just one shop that does everything, like Far West. The barber is the veterinarian too, and so he's the postman, and he does everything. So it's quite
Yeah.
dangerous, but
Uh,
lovely.
I used to live in London and found it overwhelming. So I studied later in Norwich, and this is kind of not so close to where you live now, but it's also it has this medieval touch, and I was quite happy
Yeah.
there, I have to say. So, yeah. So, but we're not here to talk about our experiences in the lovely UK country. Um, we are going to talk about a new deck of yours. And I hope you know Andrea by now because he was frequently with me. We talked about many of his projects, and now you're doing something totally new, which is not a tarot, which you usually do, but it's a Lenormand deck. So,
Yeah.
how did you come up with Lenormand? I didn't know even that you were reading these cards.
I love cartomancy and I love occultism. So when I started, I love the Marseille deck. So my first deck was a Marseille one, and it was the first version of the Book of Shadows. Then I created with the film, so the long film, 1 hour and a half. So I mean, it's a big project. Then I created the second version of the Book of Shadows, that is a Rider Waite, because it was missing the Rider Waite, and so graphic novel and everything with one project. And then there was an oracle deck, and then I said, okay, Kiefer, no, I'm not a passion of Kiefer, but Lenormand, yes, Madame Lenormand, she's really, really interesting. So I said, I have to create a Lenormand deck. So 1 year ago, I started to study and read Lenormand. I found it very, very, very fascinating because of the semantics. It's like writing and reading with a crazy system. And I absolutely love it. At the beginning, I was perplexed because coming from the depth of the archetypes of the tarot and the philosophy, the depth philosophy that you find in a tarot deck, moving to Lenormand was quite strange. But then I fall in love with it. The more I use it, the more I love it. And so I said, okay, it's time to create a Lenormand. And so I started to create it.
Yeah, and it's really very special again. I mean, your style is quite unique. I think this comic-esque you're using in your, yeah, uh, image language. And I'm going to reveal now how it's going to look. It's not yet published. You're going
No.
to do it with a Kickstarter campaign coming up next month or month.
No, between July or maybe June is
Okay.
still a work in progress.
Yes.
But for the first time, I want to a parenthesis. For the first time, instead of reaching the public with a published with a deck that is already done, I'm creating it and I'm sharing the process of creating it with all the studies, the research. Because doing a deck is not just drawing. I mean, a house and you draw a house. But if you want to do something specific, there is a lot of historical research that you want to do. I mean, that I want to do, and I do, and I will show you then maybe later some connection of everything. And so I'm sharing in the progress of the process of creating the deck with my channel on Substack that is called the Inexistent Library. But then we have a link, and so you can see there whatever I'm creating, sharing, some commenting, and sometimes I like to have some feedback so I can change or do other things or whatever. But
And
yes,
where can we follow this process?
is on Substack. If you look at the picture that I gave you with Madame Lenormand on a grey background, and then you see the graveyard silhouetted, there is the link.
Okay, I will find it in a minute. First, let's
Yes.
let's look at this one here. Um, so your
The
Lenormand.
ghastly Lenormand from the grave.
Yes. So how, I mean, I really like this picture again. How did you come up with this idea?
In the most impossible way, you don't believe me. Um, I love Paris a lot. And I went there a lot of time, and I work in Paris too. I mean, as an artist, I have a lot of exhibition there. I created the translation of the Book of Shadows, the film, that was originally in English. I translated in Italian, sorry. I translated in English when I was living in Paris. So, and it's the place when I was happier in absolute because I was living, sharing the house with my boyfriend. So we do something like 15 years together now, maybe something like that. Maybe more, I have to check. I mean, time is, anyway. And we spend a lot of time in Paris. Last time, I mean, months ago when I started this project, I was looking for the picture of Père Lachaise because I said, "Oh, I want to see something because of something, the monumentary cemetery of Père Lachaise," and I found a picture of Mademoiselle Lenormand, and I said, "Mademoiselle Lenormand?
On the
But
graveyard.
yes, she is buried in Père Lachaise," and
Ah,
I thought it everything, and then I have a fulguration because I
so sorry,
start.
but I have to come back to this. So I didn't know she was there. And on her grave, there's a picture of her.
Yes, I have a picture of the tomb. I will share it later. It's a very simple stone slab, and but the beauty is that it's covered with many many objects and flowers and a memento from people, messages, and then a lot of decks and cards because there is a legend. If you want to have your deck of Lenormand charged by her, you have to leave a full night your deck on her grave. So you go one day in Père Lachaise, you leave your deck on her tomb, and then the day after you come to take it back. And when I discovered this kind of stuff, I started to imagine her talking with me because I started to dig about her and everything. I discovered that she wrote a lot of stuff, but unfortunately, when she died, her nephew that inherited everything, there was quite a Catholic Taliban. Um, he took the money, of course, but he burned down everything he found. And so I said, okay, there are only 36 cards in a Lenormand deck. Imagine if there was originally 52 and the rest was burned and lost in the fold of history. So I imagine her coming from the grave to talk with me and say, Andrea, please, I need your help to recreate my original deck, a complete set of Lenormand cards. And this is the reason why I call it Gastly Lenormand, from the grave and not beyond the grave, because we don't go beyond the grave. The grave is a very comfortable place, and we stay in our grave, coffin, and crypt. And it's an amazing feeling. So
But
this is how I started.
that's a great story. But I learned that the Lenormand we're using is not something Madame Lenormand used. That's what we're
is
learning.
is very controversial. I discovered that. I mean, I think you know more about Lenormand than I do.
Hmm.
But the name of the cars we, I mean, she didn't invent the car. The car were Germans, and then she took and she commercialized and publicized so much the cars, and now we call it Lenormand. But I think she was one of the first to use this card for divination because it was a game, like a game
Hmm.
of life
Yeah,
or something
exactly.
like
The
that.
game of life. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's
Game of
interesting, but
joy, game of life. Yeah, so okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, I just like this idea of energizing the
yes,
cards
but
on her grave.
when we talk about cartomancy of tarot, there is the historical base, there is all the archetype studies, the psyche, there is a lot of stuff there, art, history, culture, different language. You put everything there in this big bubbly cauldron. But then there is something that is myth and legend. And I think the reason why I love so much as an artist tarot and cartomancy, Sol and Norman, because they open the door of fantasy. Everything can be believed. When we use these cards, we can use it, I mean, for predict the future, for helping in a difficult situation, for creating a story. I mean, Calvino used the tarot. I mean, Calvino was an Italian writer. He used the tarot to create his books. I mean, he created at least two books. He just connecting tarot, and the tarot were telling his stories, and he was writing the story. I did the same with my animation of the graphic novel that is told by tarot about tarot. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah, interesting. So obviously, you said it's still a work in progress. People don't, you don't have the cards ready yet. It will all be out in a
No.
few months. But you gave me some images we can look
Yeah,
at.
I have the some of the illustrations already done. Some is work in progress because I want to change and everything. And the woman that we see here is Marianne Lenormand, as I imagine her. I go online and look for some portrait and everything, and I said, "Well, imagine it now, like a beautiful corpse." And
A
so,
beautiful corpse.
yes, the most
So,
beautiful corpse you ever seen.
so I'm going to show people some cards. This is obviously the rider.
Yep. And for the rider, I took inspiration. Whenever I work, I like to take inspiration from my childhood because it was very colorful in different. I live in different countries, from South America to Italy, and with different parents. Because I mean, the crazy stuff happened in my life. So my parents were quite crazy, and my mother was a tarot reader, and my childhood was dot by moment of magic, of craziness, and everything. And one thing that I love in my childhood that scared me to that was the story of
Hollow.
Ichabod Crane. So Sleepy Hollow is called like that, the film, and then the book and the story. So it's a legend, an American legend of this knight without the head. And so when I had to draw the rider, this legend came into my life, in my memory, and I started laughing, and I said, "Absolutely, I have to draw it." And now I don't find it that spooky anymore. But after having seen, I think I went in contact with the legend through the Walt Disney film, the Walt Disney cartoon, so years and years ago, and I was not able to sleep at night. It was not as scary, but for me, it was incredibly scary. And Ichabod stayed there in my memory, and it came into my mind, so I put it there.
Yeah, I really like the style and I like the shadows on the wall. It's quite sweet and it's also quite iconic. You can easily recognize it as a tarot, as a Lenormand card.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The reason why
Sorry.
I create Gesundheit. The reason why I create a shadow in this way is because many time I will do animation with the drawings and I do it like this one. I can animate it, and I love the first style of animations and the puppet theater when you have all the silhouette, the shadow theater, and then you have the image, and then you have the light, and the light is projecting in the background this dense shadow. So for me is the magic of the theater and everything. So sometimes when I have to do something like that, I use like when I will do the final drawing for the card, this is just the illustration, it's not the card. The card will be special with a very special technique and a very special printing process and everything. I'm talking with one of the best printer in the world, so we are still analyzing paper stock and everything. Because for me, when I go self-published, I want to be like a Bugatti of the tarot. I don't want to do something no, because I want to do something with quality. I don't want to see my art printed on cheap paper. I don't want cheap colors. I want everything as I envision in my mind. So it's incredibly expensive, but I work with one of the best in the world because, I mean, the quality is important. The book has to be done in a certain way. I mean, I love quality, and so when we will have the design of the cards, you see this frame in a nice way with a nice design. Now it's just an illustration of
It's
a
just the
background.
illustration right now. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's already a beautiful illustration. And I really like here with the clover. I really like. It's a bit like the tarot card death, isn't it? That's something new comes out of a skeleton,
Yeah.
skull. So this is, you can see that you have the tarot touch in when creating this deck, isn't it?
Yeah, but there is something that is incredibly important for me. Whenever I create something that is connected to magic, because for me is important because I believe in cartomancy. I love it. I mean, I live with my mother. My mother was a tarot reader, so I will never dare to say, "Oh, it's not real what you're doing." Absolutely not. I mean, no, she was right every time. But anyway, this is another story. I everything I draw, I wanted it has a meaning. So the style can be very humorous, it can be gory-esque, macabre, Addams Family, Penny Dreadful. This is the historical references that I have in my mind. But I wanted every single element has its own meaning and can bring his contribution to the overall meaning of the cards, because otherwise it's just an exercise in beauty or in design. I don't want it. I want something meaningful. And this is the reason why I wanted to create a Lenormand deck talking about death, because I think it's really, really important to remember that we have a limited time at our disposition. And talking about that is something that always give personally the energy to live my life fully with intensity. I don't waste time. I don't like to waste time. I like to explore, to do, to discover things. And I think this is important. And then we have a lot of tradition, historical tradition. I mean, we will see when we see some other cards, and I would like to analyze a little bit some of the historical references that came to my mind.
Yeah, I have wait for it.
The bear, yes.
He looks quite grim. Usually it's
Yes,
more of
and
a friendly
spooky.
bear.
I wanted to create a bear that is has to be has spooky. I wanted to create with stain of blood, like I'm just kill someone. Then I said maybe I don't do this time because I already used blood and stain in other cards like the whip. So I like this kind of bear that is really aggressive, like a grizzly American there in the act of attacking. That is funny because it's scary and not scary at the same time. Is humorous if you want. There is a little bit of irony in the trait in the line.
How do you create these? Are they drawn or is it done on the computer or?
Digital illustrations. I created my own brushes, mimicking my own painting. Is years that now I don't do anything on paper. But sometimes the sketch, yes, is done with paper, but all the coloring process and everything is done with my iPad, because in this ways it's faster, and then I don't have the problem of scanning everything, because every time you scan you have problem of colors, no color. In this way, I do everything I want to do with the color I want to do.
Boy is just saying hi and that he's your biggest fan. He
Thank
wants to
you.
see this deck. Yes,
Me too.
if we are lucky, Rowie, we can meet up with Andrea in London in October. Or perhaps even, no, in Manchester you won't
In
have it yet.
Manchester, yes, I would like to go there and celebrate with friends my birthday because I was
But you
not
won't
able to.
have the deck in Manchester already, will you?
I will have the. Is will be maybe I will have a printing test, maybe not. But I can bring the dummies. I can bring. I mean, the Kickstarter campaign probably will be already almost done. So all sort of. This is the dog, of course. To creating this dog, I took inspiration from a story, a Japanese dog, Achiko, I think is the right pronunciation. I hope so. That is a famous dog that lived in Japan with his owner, and they used to go to get. I mean, the dog used to go to the Shibuya train station to meet his master, his owner, whenever he was coming from work. When this professor unfortunately died at university, he had a stroke or something like that, and he died sadly. The dog came for something like 12 years every single day at the train station. It's a
That's
really moving, touching story. At Shibuya train station in Tokyo, they create a statue dedicated to Achiko, and it's there. So I made this story years ago, and I wanted to use it for the dog because, of course, the meaning of this card is above all fidelity, and I think that this story is so deep, is so touching. And Achiko is like a national hero in Japan. There are manga, songs, different statues about him, and he's amazing. And I love this story, so I wanted to use it. Is a different breed of dog, but I wanted to use my dog Max. But at the end, many dogs came into my mind when I was drawing. So it's a mix of dogs I love, and anyway, it's my way of
interesting. I
seeing.
mean, Roy and I were working with the traditional oracle cards from Austria, and there you have the card Fidelity, and it is a dog, and the dog is sitting on a grave. So
Oh wow!
that's really in the tradition of this oracle
Yeah,
language. So it's quite interesting that you come up with this motive, because the dog is an animal which is connected to the underworld, the
yeah,
Cerberus, and
yeah.
the gatekeeper, basically. So yeah, it's quite nice. I
But
really like it, and
it is.
I really
Also,
like this shadow. These shadows are really speaking to me in your cards. I have to
I
say.
wanted to create like the scene is on stage lit by a dramatic light.
Yeah,
And by the way, when my grand uncle they have a dog and he passed away, the dog was waiting for my uncle every single day in front of the door till the day he passed away from the coming back of my great uncle. So dogs are like that. They are incredibly faithful,
yeah.
incredibly. I love this kind of. I mean, I'm a dog person, so I love dogs. I always have dogs in my childhood, and I'm, I can live without a dog. So the bigger, the best. I love big dogs. This
So
is a detail for the woman card, and the reference is this. I mean, beautiful lady corpse, very well dressed. Is a Victorian lady. I went online and on libraries to study and research the dress for the morning and the rule of the morning in the Victorian era, and then a little bit of La Catrina Calavera, so Los Días de los Muertos, so the Mexican celebration of, let's say, Halloween, All the Saints, or something like that, and what we call in Italy Tutti Santi, so it's the day of the dead. And so I putting everything together, and this character come to life, and I really like her. By the way, I mean, I think I want to do something with her that is more than just the tarot deck because I resonate with her a lot. So I want to use it.
well, as long as you don't start a love affair with her, it's okay.
Yes, exactly. No, you know that whenever I do an illustration and I like it, and I use it and reuse it, animate it, and then it come to life in different form. This, of course, is the husband. So
It's
you
a
have the
moustache.
lady, the gentleman with the mustache. They were my mustache. Do you
No,
remember when I was wearing this kind of
I
mustache? Yeah.
know.
Then they I have to say something that is funny, but is they are nice, they are stylish, but they are incredibly horrible when you want to sleep because they tickle you, because they go everywhere. So one day I said, enough is enough. I want to sleep. And I went to the bathroom and I cut my mustache during the night. And so I said, never again. Never. That's enough.
Yeah, but now you put it on somebody who's not going to die because he's dead already. I really like his stick as well. It's quite cute, and the way he's standing there. Um, yeah, it's a bit
I
like Mary Poppins from the dead.
Yes, I copied the walking stick from a picture, a self-portrait of Mapplethorpe when he was dying because he was HIV positive. He took of a very, very moving, very strong self-portrait where he's already with the mark of the disease, and he's holding a stick with a skull on top of it. I think it's a golden, it's a metal, is a sculpture. And so I remembered the pictures and I wanted to use it for my gentleman.
That's a really good gentleman. And you, I don't see this one here. I have the child as well.
Yes. Yeah, I have a lot of. I mean, when you think about child and dead, nothing is good. I mean, it's really a dramatic. I mean, it's something horrible. And so I said, how can I draw a child? So I started to draw in different way, different facial expressions, smiling, not smiling. At the end, I removed the smile. I have the eyes with different shapes and everything, and the eyes teddy bear. So I see something like a happy and mischievous child there, a
Is it a
corpse, but
broken
with an
teddy
happy.
bear?
Hmm?
Is there a leg missing with the teddy bear?
Yes, a teddy bear. Yes, he's no, he's holding his in hand a
No,
teddy bear.
no,
Yes.
there's the four. I only saw three legs. Okay.
No, no, no. Four legs. The other one is
Mm.
in the end. Two
In the
legs
end.
and two arms, and yeah, 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 yeah.
So
No,
because
I
of
have a lot
this,
of fun.
is a child connected to the bear for you?
I connected more to the man and the woman when I started to create because I started with the woman was the first card and I draw because it was very very similar to Madame Lenormand.
Mm.
I mean, she is here, perfectly framed because I love her. So I have her, yes. So I create her, and then I created a nice man with her, and I said, "Wow, this is a family. Let's put a child." And so I put all of them together, and I have a lot of fun. Then you can connect the cards with.
Well, these are almost all cards I have, but you created one extra card. So it's going to be
I
37 cards?
created. I have to create something like 16 extra card.
Oh,
One of those is the happy skeleton, the dancing skeleton that is here. And it came into my mind is the cultural reference is your country, the totem dance, the the happy dance of the skeleton, because I loved it the period of time that is the 1300, 1400, so the 100 year, the plague, so Middle Age, Renaissance, that period of time, very, very fascinating. And there are lots of frescoes with dead and corpses in very state of putrefaction, from perfect skeleton to zombie-like figure, dancing with the living, because the corpses were amassing on the streets for the plague, for the wars. So everyone was it was a very traumatic period of time to live in, and I always loved this kind of gruesomeness and this kind of memento mori. Remember that you have to die. Remember to enjoy life till you have, because this fresco you find in church, inside the churches, and they have the double goal to remind you that you die, so you should live as a Christian, but to the other side, to remember to live because you don't know if tomorrow you will still alive. So there is a lot of interesting things happening there. And if someone is interested in this kind of discussion, I mean, like how the men uh, process and rationalize death from ancient time to now, there is a beautiful book from a French medievalist that is in French is called L'Homme et la Mort, so the man and death, by Philippe Arié. I read the book when I was at university. I love it. I study a lot of Renaissance, I mean, a Middle Age history and philosophy and everything. And I mean, it's a book that is a big tome, but you devour it. It's incredibly interesting to see how people process death uh, and change the idea of that across centuries. So, little reference. And so, here I wanted to create this skeleton, but I created it for a purpose because we have the man, we have the woman. Usually, you use these cards. I mean, may use this card as a focus card, as a significator. But what if you are not taken by the binary definition between male and female? If you're not binary, you need a card. And so I wanted to create the skeleton because, of course, the skeleton of a man is different from the skeleton of a female, of course. But a drawing of a skeleton is a drawing of a skeleton, so it's neutral. And then I like the idea that the skeleton can be neutral. You can use it as you want, because at the end, this is what we have and this is what we are. I mean, skeleton with a thinking skeleton. So anyway,
So you said 16 more cards you're planning.
yes, because from 32, no, 36, I have to reach the number of 52, like a poker deck without the jolly. So yes.
Uh,
So yeah.
for a certain reason, you want to have 52?
Yes, so the deck will be complete because now the Lenormand deck is missing all the first cards of the deck.
That's what we were saying about you
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hide
yeah. I
the.
imagined that the deck was originally 52 and then they were lost.
So
And
so
so I
how
wanted to,
how do you sit on the grave of Madame Lenormand in order to be inspired for these cards, or how do you?
absolutely, yes. And then she comes to disturb me in my holy slumber. At night, she knocked on my door. She pulled me by the feet, like my mother, and she said, I have to talk with you. We have a deck to complete. And actually, the idea of completing the deck with more extra card is incredibly fun because you can have a grand tableau and then you can have the magnifique grand tableau. So, using all the 52 cards, and it's fantastic to use it. So I like the idea that if you want, you can use my deck in the standard way. So there are the standard cards with more meaning, maybe, or my ideas of the meaning of the cards, but they are historically accurate. I mean, I don't do something crazy, and they're perfectly recognizable. And then there are the extra cards, and if you want to use them, you can have more meanings, more playfulness there, and it was fun.
You know that there is a deck called the Grand Lenormand. There is a deck with I don't know whether it's 52 cards or 56 cards from the tradition. They're different than the Lenormand decks we're using, but something like this exists. But I'm sure it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, 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 yeah.
was not
It's
done by
even
Madame Lenormand.
No, no, no. Just even maybe Lenormand is a very nice deck of 52 cards.
Mm,
I think it's interesting to have the ability to add cards because in this way you can use it as a as an oracle deck, or you can use it like a classical Lenormand, but he's expanding the possibilities, and I think it's interesting because you can add cards and then you can use. So
mm,
I know that many experts of Lenormand, like Rana George, is already using decks with extra cards, and she
mm.
has her own extra cards for her own purpose, and is good because at the end, I mean, times are changing, and so we need other tools, other means, other even the names of the cards sometimes shift. I never remember the name, the alternative name of the whip because it's a birch rod or whatever. It's an instrument that we don't even see anymore. So I think sometimes changing with something that is more acquaintance to us, it make the reading of the card more direct, straightforward, and we keep the same meaning, but we contextualize in a more modern time. Otherwise, it's a little bit
And
crazy.
and do you already know the 16 cards you're going to use?
I have a list. I have a lot of drawings, and at the end, I have to select because I have more cards than the space possible. So I have to choose. There are cards that I really, really love because they are spooky. There are cards that I love for the meaning, and so I have to, because there are cards that you can use in different ways, and I
Yeah,
really, really, really love them. So I was cheeky in the creation of the cards. I put there my passion for ancient languages. So there is one card maybe I use that I don't know how I call it because I think I have still to find the name. But the concept is the concept of the Greek word pharmakon. From one you have pharmacy and pharmacological or something like that. Pharmakon in ancient Greek is whatever it is we call now a medicine. But the ancient Greek used pharmakon for the medicine, so the remedy of something, and the poison. So a pharmacon can cure you or kill you. And the idea is that it's the dosage that makes all the difference.
interesting.
And it's very, very interesting. So that card as a concept is incredibly fascinating because I mean, it's great. So too much of something that kill you is the important dosage. And I want to use that card in a reading, absolutely. And so now I'm experimenting and doing because after having had the idea, you have to create. Usually, I do a very bad sketch. I put it in a piece of paper. I mean, really. And then I start using it to see if the concept I have makes sense in a spread. And sometimes I start laughing and say, oh, yes, it's great. And all like, I mean, it's fantastic. It's like inventing something. And sometimes you said, no, it doesn't make sense. It's too similar of this card or doesn't work as I wanted. So, or you drop the idea or you start elaborating and modifying the idea. It's a work in progress for this reason.
Yeah, very interesting. Um, I don't have any more pics to show, but I think people can have quite an insight how the deck is going to look. The feel is very interesting. I really like what I see. I think your art has developed as well during the time. I don't know when we got this first book of shadows of yours. It must be 10
Yeah.
years or so. And of course, it was already quite cute, but you have that it's more perhaps because I like these shadows so much because it's so three-dimensional now.
Yep. I'm really, really happy that you noticed because the change was very, very dramatic, as intense for me too. And the change happened because I change media. I used to have to use oil on canvas, or oil colors on canvas. Is a very long technique. And so I was doing classical exhibition with my quirky style, but to create something like that in oil, it takes a century. When you have a tablet where you can work on real ink works or digital inks, you are so fast. And in the time I used to have one painting, I can have hundreds and hundreds of illustrations. So I have the time to grow my style in a faster way. And I'm really, really happy. I don't think I will ever go back to, maybe yes, I will go back to oil colors and brush because I love it. I love the physicality. But I love so much the ability to be able to animate. And now I think that every single project I did, every single tarot or oracle deck, there is always some part that is animated. That it is the augmented reality, or there is an animation film connected to it. Or I love animations. Is my world is moving, and for me, my illustration is alive. I see them talking, moving, and so keep working digitally, make everything faster. And as you know, I'm workaholic, so it's not
You
nice,
are,
but
aren't we all? Well, there are no questions today. Just that you have a big fan, and Bonnie wrote that she's
yeah,
really
I see
interested.
Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie. Yes, she said that she's. Oh yeah, pretty. Yep. The story behind, because I'm sharing everything on Substack, so people can see there and
I
can.
don't have the picture, unfortunately, at hand where the link is on. Um,
I think I gave you is the one with the wait. Well,
did you
anyway,
send it to me
I
today?
yes.
Okay, then
Is
I
the
did.
one gray background. You see the silhouette of the graveyard, And then you have, let me check, because I send you everything on
I need
well,
to
it was intended to send. Let me see if I did it, because if I don't did it, it was my fault, and is
the
okay.
graveyard.
Yes, is wait. I have here on my mobile, so it's easy
I
to.
didn't. I
So this
didn't.
one,
Okay, wait. Um,
because it's the only reason is because there is the link there. Otherwise, I write it there because I have to remember to that the link. I write the
yeah, I've
link
got it
here.
here. Just
I
hold
know
on
I
for a
cannot
sec.
write the link. I can write to you, and you can write it.
Yeah,
So
don't worry.
when
I'm going to show it in a sec.
okay, perfect.
I just need to download it. I didn't get this for some reason.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, it's okay. I bombarded you with images. So no, then now the fun part is to keep sharing on Substack the creation of the deck, create, see what I'm doing, the booklet, some reading, because at the end it's important to communicate some notion, things that I discover, exploration about reading Lenormand. But then I have to prepare the Kickstarter campaign, and that I really is really special because I would like to have a lot of fun there. Going on, yes, thank you. The link is there, the inexistentlibrary.substack.com.
Yeah.
And then
So
you see the Crypt Club. Everything it is tagged with Crypt Club. I created this club for this deck that is, I mean,
and when
exactly.
you go on this page, you can see how you're developing your art.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
really
No,
like it.
and then I would say the Kickstarter is important because you meet your community, and a lot of things happen on Kickstarter. Oh, this is my garden. That is the graveyard. And Jonathan, I usually call my backyard my graveyard. When when I was living in London, usually I called the backyard the graveyard. I mean, well, lots of fun with flatmates around and everything, with spooky parties, and I love Halloween. So anyway,
So this is kind of the coffin card, or is it a new card?
no, this is for the garden.
Ah,
Because
this
if
is
you
the
go to
garden.
Père Lachaise, if you go to Highgate, so
Mhm.
the monumental cemetery, they are garden. Sometimes, I mean, Highgate is in a forest. It's very, very beautiful. So I wanted to use them as a garden. Then is a deck speaking about
Well, in
the dead,
Hamburg,
not dead. So
sorry, in Hamburg we have the biggest cemetery garden in the world. So
oh, I have to come
obviously,
and see. So, but I have to come and see you. When
yes,
it's here, they say we say that, but I have
you keep
to do
saying
it.
that you're coming, but now you can travel again, can't you? So
Yeah, no, I can. Now I'm settled here. I mean, I solved the problem created by Brexit as
yeah,
a European citizen. Now I have the permit, a limited permit to live and work in the UK. So I have no problems
a
anymore.
limited to live, not to leave.
No, no,
Okay.
no, to leave, to leave. No, 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 to leave, to stay here. I can stay here as long as I want. But I'm planning to take the citizenship. Sooner or later, I have to, I want to. Well, not that I have, but I would like to.
So, I mean, we will meet up twice this year anyway. I'm looking forward to that. And anybody who really wants to get a lovely new um, old Lenormand, um, join Andrea at the site you were shown and wait for the kickstarting campaign to kick off. And I'm very curious. I think I will also participate. Um, let's see. Um, Thank you for sharing this with us before
Thank you. It
out.
was really fun, and I'm looking forward to share more and do more. And just a little bit of a note: if everything goes as I plan, for the first time, I will create translation of everything I do. So I will be not anymore a work only in English, but I it will be in Spanish too, because as I said, I would like to go back to my origin. I live in Buenos Aires for a long time, and I would like to go back to connect with my childhood there. So the booklet will be initially in two versions, English and Spanish, and if I manage, it will be followed immediately, even during the Kickstarter campaign, by French and German. But I don't know. Let's see. is a lot of work, a
It's a lot
lot
of
of
work.
work. Because instead of creating one book, I mean, already 5 languages is 5 different versions of the books. You can imagine how it's not that easy. But let's say that the idea is there of covering the most important languages, the most widespread languages. So let's see.
I'm hope very um oh, I'm missing the word. I am quite sure it will work out just fine, everything, and it will be another success of yours. Yes, so you know
Thank you.
everything what you need to know. You know how to get in touch with Andrea. And I have to thank you for this lovely
Well,
interview.
thank you to you. Is a pleasure. And maybe before the Kickstarter campaign, we will see again each other because if everything goes as I wish, we can have a big revelation about the cards because the biggest secrets of this deck are still buried very, very deep, 6 feet under. Because I'm checking different technical possibility, technology, and everything. And when everything will be tested it would be so beautiful. I'm really, really excited, really excited.
I'm
I'm really working with the best printer in one of the best printer in the world. I challenge them so much that they are creating the realization of the dummies and everything I need to do because I want something incredibly special. I don't want just a deck with funny and all the philosophy. Yes, but I want something, as I said, a Bugatti of Lenormand. I want something special.
I hope I can be a part of this reveal. I'm very curious.
We will do it. We will do it.
Yes, so let's just keep in touch and let me know when it's going to happen, and then we can make fix a date. No problem.
Absolutely.
About dates, the next live chat will be end of April. I have some very exciting guests, but I'm not revealing this either yet. And
Your secrets too.
of course, I'm a woman. So,
Great.
um, everybody, have a great time. Thanks, Andrea. And
See
it was
you.
not the last time we've seen each other here.
No, 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 no. Thanks everyone to follow us. Thank you for people will see the recording. Thanks too much, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.